Say something. Hey, so I was having a conversation with a gentleman last night, and this gentleman has been trucking for, I believe, about 5 or 6 years, semi-truck driver, dry van. And he's been an owner-operator, and last night I had a conversation with him, and he was just basically telling me how he's discouraged and he's ready to get out of the trucking industry because he's not seeing the results that he wants to see. So basically I was having this conversation with him, and I said, well, where is most of your money coming from? You know, where is your revenue coming from? Are you booking loads straight off the load board, or do you have direct customers? Do you have any type of dedicated freight and dedicated shippers? So he was like, no, the only way he's making money is basically off the load board. So I gave him my story. I told him, I said, well, I'm going to tell you like this, and this is where my mind is and my mentality. Back in 2017, when I first started my trucking company, I had those thoughts. At first, I was like, man, I'm making good money running off the load board. And then eventually I started to think about it in this way and say, what if the load board, what if technology failed us? Or what if the load board is not producing the results that you want to see? Now that means your trucking company will go down because you're only making money one way. You're only making money by running off the load board. You don't have these relationships built with customers and direct shippers out here. So you don't want to just rely on that load board, because I'm going to tell you guys like this, me being a freight broker, and a lot of freight brokers don't even post their loads on load boards, you know, so there's plenty of freight out here. From my research, production is still steady. So there's still freight being produced on a day-to-day basis out here, you know, so I believe that there's still more freight being produced than there are truck drivers. But the thing about it is, a lot of people in this trucking industry base their actual income off of the load board, because most of you guys out there don't have any type of direct shippers anyway. You know, some of you guys are not on any type of contracts and don't have any type of dedicated freight. So you're just running off the load board. So now you're basically basing the trucking industry and your business off of the load board. So a lot of freight brokers are not even posting their loads on the load board. There's plenty of freight brokers out here that already have relationships built with carriers. There's a lot of freight brokers that just wake up in the morning and just blast an email out to all of the truck drivers that haul loads for them with their loads that they have, so that they don't have to waste time putting their loads on the load board. So basically all I'm trying to tell you guys out there is that you can't just solely depend on the load board. You have to start evolving. And I believe in any business and in life, that is the critical word right there, evolution. So when I'm talking about evolving, so for me, what I did when I evolved was I started to learn how to go build relationships. I started to learn how to go out and start brokering freight. With me being a freight broker, definitely gave me the opportunity. At the time, I wasn't even thinking about acquiring direct shippers for my personal trucks until I started to actually build up my freight brokerage, and I started to realize, like, man, all of these shippers that I'm contacting could potentially be a direct shipper for me. So that's how I learned how to start building relationships, and I started to gain direct shippers, is because of me becoming an actual freight broker and starting to utilize my broker authority to start directly going to shippers to start trying to broker out their freight. But in return, I can actually start building up some dedicated freight too for my personal trucks by acquiring them to become direct shippers too. So a lot of you guys out here, when you're getting off into this trucking industry, remember one thing: you have to evolve. You know, you can't just run one way. You just can't be a trucker. You just can't go out and buy a semi truck or a dually truck and just think like, hey, I'm just about to make a whole lot of money, and the only way that you're making your money is based off the load board. You don't want to ever put yourself in a position in life that you're just dependent on one way. So for me, I could go run off the load board if I want to. And then also I have the direct customers that I could haul their freight for them too. You know, so the direct customers, that's all I really want anyway. I don't really care about running off the load board, but if I want to jump on the load board, I can. But I could tell you guys, like I'm telling you guys right now, is that a lot of you will base the trucking industry off of the load board. You know, so a lot of people out here, you're just trucking right now and you're just running off the load board and you're not seeing the results, and now everyone just think that the trucking industry is going down. So look, the trucking industry is not going anywhere. It's just like real estate. You know, you're going to have your bad times, then you're going to have your good times. You know, so the thing about it is, as business owners, you just got to pretty much, you just take the good with the bad and then you just figure it out. You know, so don't really think like, oh man, I'm not going to get into the trucking industry, or I'm getting out of the trucking industry because I'm having a couple of bad, you know, months. You know, so a lot of you guys, as you never experienced anything bad in your life, you know, especially when it comes to business. So you're going to be very quick to pull the trigger to either not jump into the business or to get out of the business. So I just believe for you guys out there, it's just all about evolution. You got to evolve and you got to learn as much as you can, you know, and don't just depend on one way out here of making money. A lot of you guys, man, you got to get off that load board, you know, and I'm not saying get off of it and not ever run on the load board anymore, but I'm just basically saying that you can't just depend on running on the load board, because the load board is not going to produce you all of the results that you want on a day-to-day basis out here. So like I tell you guys all the time, man, if you have any questions, hit me up on my email at broker@managedtrans.com. Go visit my website, www.extraordinarymovement.com. If you guys are looking for a load board, go sign up with TAFS, Trans and Financial Services. Go sign up with DAT for 30-day free trial. Go sign up with TAFS for factoring service out there if you guys are looking to start factoring loads out there. Also, TAFS is giving out a free ELD for you guys that are new to signing up with them. So if you guys are looking for a free ELD in a factoring service, go click the link below in the description box. Go sign up with TAFS, Trans and Financial Services out there, man. CEO, commit, execute, and be obsessed. Everybody be great out there.